This episode is brought to you by Grasshopper. Stay connected and run your business from your mobile phone with Grasshopper. To save $50 on your order, visit trygrasshopper.com/TWiP. Today on TWiP Apps, RAW capture and editing comes to iOS, with one of the biggest names in epic photography bringing it to you in style. Introducing RAW by 500px. With the release of iOS 10, RAW image capture comes to the latest iOS devices, while RAW editing comes to even more. Many developers are rushing to bring the reality of RAW to your iOS device, and 500px is one of the first. RAW by 500px is an all-new app that not only shoots RAW, but edits RAW, even RAW files from your full-size camera. In addition to a beautiful editing workflow, RAW by 500px also includes a built-in model release form and easy submission of your final image to the 500px marketplace, release included. And finally, in the not-too-distant future, you'll be able to review and accept paid assignments directly from the 500px app. I'm Photo Joseph, and this is TWiP Apps. Welcome back to another episode of TWiP Apps. I'm your host, Photo Joseph, and today's guest is Adam Schutze with 500px, bringing to us a very exciting new app to take advantage of some exciting new technology in iOS 10 and the latest iOS devices. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you on. So you guys reached out to me just a week or so ago and told me about a little app that you're going to be coming out with, something totally new to take advantage of the new hardware and the new OS. And I was very excited to get you on the show so quickly. So thanks for that. Thanks for coming on and thanks for reaching out. And of course, this new app is called RAW by 500px.
That's right. We want it to be very obvious.
Very obvious. So I would ask what it is, but as you just pointed out, it's quite obvious. This is all about RAW. So for those who may not be aware of it, with iOS 10, you now have the ability to capture RAW images on some iOS devices. That is going to be the 6S line and above, so 6S and the 7 phones, some iPads, and of course, anything in the future that Apple makes will be able to do that as well. But it's not just about capturing. You can also edit RAW files in iOS 10, even if they were captured on other devices. Isn't that right, Adam?
That's right. So you can take the photo with the app, or a lot of photographers take their DSLR shots and then put it through their normal workflow on mobile. So you can still do that in RAW now.
That's fantastic. All right, so there's a lot that we can do now with this new technology, and obviously we're going to get into a demo in a moment, but 500px is a pretty big company. I think a lot of our listeners probably already are familiar with it, but just in case not, can you just give us a little overview of the company itself, 500px? How long have you guys been around? How big are you?
Sure. So 500px has been around since 2009. It started when two photographers, they wanted a place to actually share and promote their best work. So photography was at the heart of what 500px is about, and quality photography, more specifically, was what we wanted to express. So since then, it's kind of grown from just a community to now we have a marketplace and an on-demand photography service to allow brands like Airbnb and Google to find photographers around the world and shoot really custom work. So our whole point is that we want to enable and reward visual creativity. So that means if you are on the web, if you're on mobile, if you use a DSLR or your camera on your phone, we want to make sure that you have a great photography experience.
That's fantastic. Very awesome. So the service, 500px, was obviously a web service to start. It was really, like you said, it was all about sharing the pictures. And of course, there's a lot of other ways to share your pictures out there. Flickr being one of the biggest ones.
Sure.
You can just share straight onto Facebook. Of course, people have their own blogs. What made 500px unique? Why did they start their own instead of just using whatever was already out there?
Sure. So it was all about showing the best work. So the name 500px comes from the fact that our co-founder Evgeny wanted people to upload at least 500px photos wide, so at least 500 pixels wide, which back then, so back then that was 800 by 600 displays. It was, it started as a blog, as a live journal blog. So people had to upload large, 800 by 600 monitors. 500px wide was actually pretty large. So that was that's where the name came from. And we kind of liked that history, so we stuck around with it. But really, it was about the quality. It wasn't about dumping all of your vacation photos or all of the photos you shot, of your kids. It was finding those one or two excellent photos that you were really proud of, and sharing that with a bunch of like-minded photographers. So the community kind of just grew from that, and it was very organic that way, which is awesome.
Very cool. That's a great history to the name. I had never heard that before. So if the company was founded today, it'd be 2048 PX?
Yeah, or 4K PX, who knows?
4K PX. That's too cool. Right on. And I love that it's about sharing just your best. And that was always one of the things with something like Flickr. Flickr's a great website, great resource, but yeah, people would basically dump their entire memory card up there. You have 500 photos to go through just to find a couple of gems. Whereas, with your website, clearly you go there and it's just the best of the best. And I've said before, I'm not a landscape photographer. I have friends who are. And whenever I've talked about landscape photography, I've said, go to 500px. You will find the most amazing landscape photography anywhere on there. And then I would pause and say, or don't, because it'll just depress you and you'll never pick up your camera again. There's so much good stuff.
It's pretty amazing that we have that type of talent, but we also want to allow new photographers who are trying a different style, people who are just getting their first camera or kind of getting into that space. We want them to be feeling they belong as well. That there's a place for them on 500px, because you can only get better by learning and by being taught by others. So we want to get rid of that stigma that it's only for the pros. It's actually for anyone who wants to share their best work.
That's great. That's great to hear. And I know, like you said, as far as using it to get better, and that is a great way to get better, is to look at other people's work and be inspired by others' work. And I have collections that I've built on 500px of things like portraiture. I do a lot of portraiture, and there's so much amazing portraiture on there. And I'll flip through and just, I'm inspired by the shot. I love this shot. The lighting's incredible. The background's incredible, whatever it may be. And I have a series of different collections for, these are the ones that I look at. Look at the background on this. Look at the lighting on this. Look at the camera angle on here, just so that I have things to go back to for reference. Because it's incredible. There's so much good stuff on there. So cool. Yeah. Helping photographers around the world to get better and better.
Exactly.
Love it. I love it. Okay, so now step forward a couple of years and you started releasing a few apps. Of course, there's a 500px app for iOS that allows you to browse the galleries instead of going through the website, so better experience.
Exactly.
But now we're getting into a whole new world where you're actually making a camera app, and that's, of course, what this RAW app is all about. So what was the inspiration to create this? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people making apps. Why make your own?
Well, it was a few reasons. First, the technology had caught up. It's all about quality. We really want to make sure that that's the number one focus of our community and marketplace. Right? When we're licensing photos, we're not licensing $2 photos. It's a premium marketplace. So we wanted to make sure the technology had caught up, and we think we're at a point now, not just with iOS but also with Android, that the technology and the hardware and software is at a point where you're starting to get to DSLR quality, and it's maybe not there yet with some of the stuff that Apple showed off at their event with the bokeh and kind of that software style stuff. We're getting really close. We thought now is a great opportunity for not just the capture and edit part, but also the entire workflow where you can capture, edit, share, maybe get paid for some of your work all with a mobile phone. So we thought now is a great opportunity. And frankly, it's always been part of our roadmap where we always looked at, is this year for capture? Is this the year for editing on the phone? And again, it just happened that we were looking at that, and Apple announced the RAW in iOS 10, and we thought, perfect fit. We can't give this up.
Okay, very good. Well, that is great timing all around. Super. Okay, well, I think it's about time to jump into the demo. Before we do that, let's just take a quick break to hear from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Grasshopper. Grasshopper is a virtual phone system designed for entrepreneurs. Grasshopper works just like a traditional phone system, but requires no hardware purchase or software installation. With their iOS and Android app, callers can reach you wherever you are on your mobile phone. Grasshopper allows you to keep your existing number so you can maintain your brand. Or when you make a call, your client can see your Grasshopper caller ID instead of your personal phone number. Simply select a toll-free or local number, record a custom greeting, and add multiple extensions for your business. Toll-free numbers are great for marketing and make your business sound more professional. You can set up department and employee extensions with custom call forwarding to any phone in the world. You can get voicemails emailed to you as audio attachments. And you can also send and receive text messages from your business number. Join the over 250,000 Grasshopper customers today. Plans start at just $12 a month, and you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Turn your smartphone into a business line with Grasshopper. To save $50 on your order, go to trygrasshopper.com/TWiP. That's trygrasshopper.com/TWiP. And we thank Grasshopper for their support. All right, we are back, and Adam is going to show us this brand new app, the Raw app for iOS devices. So, Adam, we're looking at your screen now. Go ahead and show us what you got.
Awesome. So, I'm demoing this on an iPhone 6, but it's available from an iPhone SE all the way up to now the new 7 Plus. Some devices capture in RAW, but all can edit in RAW. So again, if you have your DSLR and you want to drop a RAW photo in there, you can do that.
So, okay, that's a really interesting point. So the 6 that you're demoing on cannot shoot RAW, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you have the ability to bring files over from another iOS device, or as you said, a DSLR or mirrorless camera that's shooting RAW. And then are you doing, well, you're not doing your own RAW decode, right? You're using the iOS's built-in RAW decode. So whatever cameras are supported by iOS are supported within your app.
Correct.
Okay, great. Cool.
And it's all sunk over iCloud or AirDrop, so you can just get them in really quickly. Got it. So if I open up the app here, it starts off always with the camera. We want it to be very quick to get into the camera mode. So this is our auto camera, very lightweight, very simple. You can tap to focus like you normally can on a camera app, but that's kind of it for this mode. We want it to be very quick. Open up your phone, take out the phone, hit the shutter button.
Sure.
So you just hit the shutter and you get the little flash. It's great. Now you can jump over to auto, from auto to manual by hitting the switch in the bottom left-hand corner there. And this gets you a little bit more tools to change your photo up a little bit. So on the left side here, you have a slider. You have a slider for focal length. Okay. So if I was to focus on maybe this part here, you can see it goes from in focus and out of focus. So again, a little more control over your focal length.
When you tap to focus, did I see a split focusing screen?
This is only for tap focus. So you can't tap to focus and to control brightness.
Okay.
But we have these two sliders for that. So you can underexpose your image a little bit or...
Got it. You know what the split focus, it's, I guess the way the UI is done there, it almost looks like a split focusing screen. But the old analog, well, I don't know if you used to shoot film
cameras, for sure.
Cameras, yeah. But where it would bring the two into alignment and then so how you knew it was in focus. That's almost what it looked like there. That'd be a really cool way to do manual focus because it's hard focusing manually with an iOS device on any app. It's hard to really nail focus. I think that might be a great way to do it. If you could position the split focuser on, like, say, the edge of the screen there, like you're doing there, and then manually dial that in and see that. That could be a really cool way to do it.
All right, I'll have to make a note of that. Tell the team. And then the other controls you have at the bottom here, very simple, just a little bit of a flash. So when you take a picture, you can flash. A timer, a 3-second, a 9-second timer, and then just your rule of thirds grid. So we want to keep it pretty lightweight. We have a few other ideas in the works about how we can make this a bit more professional feeling, this manual mode. But again, we're just getting started with the app.
Now, how about Zoom? Zoom is on anything other than iPhone 7 Plus, Zoom is a very, very bad word because it's digital Zoom.
Yes.
But now we have the iPhone 7 Plus, which obviously you're not working with there, but can you access the second camera? The second camera, second lens on the 7 Plus.
So we just got a 7 Plus in the office, so we're now playing around with the hardware. We definitely want to support all the hardware and be able to zoom between the 1 and the 2x lens. But there's no digital zoom in our app because it is, horrible, as professionals know, not the best way to zoom.
Right.
So.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to put out a request since that feature is still in progress. When you switch, make it a switch, not a slider. Because even on the way it's built in right now, you can slide between and you're digital zooming. And there's actually no indication within just the native Apple app of when it switches to the second camera. And as I have discovered the hard way, if you're too close to your subject and you zoom into 2x, you may think you're using the other camera, but you're not. You're actually digital zooming because that second camera has it doesn't focus as closely as the wide angle lens does. Right. So you could be shooting in 2x mode and not realize you're actually digital zooming. So no digital zooming and that problem is solved.
We definitely want to make sure that the photographer has the most control over their work, wherever that may be. So good.
Well, I can't wait to see that. Very good.
Awesome. So that's the capture experience. I'll go quickly through kind of the rest of the workflow and then jump into some more details. Okay. Because this is a pro app and we really want people who are using photography to make money, we've also included a model release section. We know it's really hard for people to carry around model releases everywhere. A lot of people don't even know they need one.
Yeah.
So whenever you're shooting, we definitely want to make sure you have the ability to create or modify a model release. I'll go into more details with that in a second.
Okay.
Swiping back over, I have my library. So you can see the photos I just took, plus a few other photos I took this weekend and over the past few months. And then down here, these last 5 photos are raw imported photos. So these are some of our press images we use for raw, captured with a Nikon D700, I think, or something. Just a standard DSLR.
Okay.
And then finally, the coolest part of this new app is getting people ready for assignments. So assignments is a feature that we have on Fiverr and PX that connects photographers with big brands who want custom photography. Stock is great for some use cases, but more people are looking for custom work. So this is an opportunity for you to use your phone to actually get notified when, let's say, Airbnb needs some photos of your neighborhood.
Okay.
So we're definitely we're just starting with this. So get in. Tapping I'm interested here will just send us a notification that you're ready to go.
Okay.
But in the future, you'll definitely be able to review and book yourself some assignments.
How soon do you think that'll start happening?
Well, we hope to launch that fall of this year. So the end of this, the next quarter. It just depends on kind of the volume you start getting in, but we're definitely getting there. So
awesome. Well, I can't wait to see that. That's very cool.
Cool. So let me jump back here to our editing or our library here. So this is a list of all the photos you've captured in the app. You can also import images by tapping on the top right-hand corner. Just there, you get your standard file picker.
Okay. When you shoot, sorry to interrupt. When you shoot with the camera in here, is it saving to the camera roll at the same time, or are they stored just in the 500px app first?
For now, it's just stored in the 500px app.
Okay.
Because we wanted to have control over the ones you edited and the ones you haven't edited,
right?
Because this is a workflow. We're looking into other ways that this might work. If you can have a JPEG plus RAW feature or save to camera roll, we're definitely still learning about what the best experience might be.
I know you can do RAW plus JPEG. I saw another app that does that, which is pretty cool. But I like that they're separated. There's some apps that shoot, whether we're talking RAW or just a regular camera app, some that will save straight to the camera roll and some that save in its own memory first. And I like that. I like having that separation because if you're using the Photos app on iOS or Mac OS and you're actually organizing your photos, if every single picture you take goes into there, it can get a little overwhelming. So I think it's good to have that separation. You can save it out if you want to.
Definitely. And then you can do all your editing here. You can know which ones you have edited and which ones you haven't. And then it's a much cleaner workflow, we feel.
Right. Now, if you're using multiple iOS devices and you have RAW by 500px installed on both of them, is there any syncing between the photos that have been taken on one device to the other?
Not yet, but we're looking into that.
Okay,
sure.
Cool. Great.
So just to jump into the editing features, and this is one of the biggest reasons why we felt that now is a good time to add editing to our suite of apps. So here it's very, very simple. You get edit, so you have crop, edit, filters, upload, and your overflow menu there. So we wanted to keep it pretty simple, but one of our favorite features, and the reason that we think this is really cool, is when you go into edit, we've separated each of the editing functions like you would see in desktop software, where if you are in the side pane, all your light functions are together, all of your color functions are together, all your sharpness and clarity filters are together. So we really want to emulate that style of working inside of RAW. Okay. So if I tap on this first icon in the bottom left, you'll see that I get all my light style controls together. As a photographer, you're never really kind of just doing exposure and then going on to the next thing.
Sure.
You're doing exposure and then contrast, and then you're filling with your highlights and your shadows. And we really wanted that experience here. So as I slide up, the photo gets more exposed, and then down a little bit less.
This is a RAW picture that we're working with right now?
This is a RAW picture, right? Okay. So then you can have contrast up and down. And again, it kind of gives you a little sample of what you might want to do next. So instead of going on to color, maybe I want to do highlights. Mm-hmm. So you bump highlights up.
Okay, so the design here is really a flow, a guide. You should start with exposure, then look at contrast, highlights, and shadows. You just follow them in sequential order here, and it should be good.
Sure, and if you don't want to touch one, you don't have to touch one, but we know that people like to edit these functions together.
Okay.
And I can jump immediately over to my temperature and tint, and I'll play around with those a little bit.
And that was just tapping the bucket icon on the bottom there.
Exactly. Bring up my saturation, and I'm mobile, so I have to add some fade.
Of course.
Going over to details again, clarity, sharpness, Grain, you can either add grain or noise reduction if you move it down.
Oh, really?
And
That's
then,
interesting.
exactly.
Do
And then
noise reduction.
vignette, adding a lighter or darker vignette depending on if you go up or down.
Okay, so basically vignette and devignette. I like that the grain will actually remove noise. That's a nice approach. I've never seen a slider that was kind of a all-in-one. Usually it's two separate things. And I mean, I guess you could argue either way, because if you may want to remove the digital noise, but then add in a film grain type of a look to a cleaner picture. And the grain that you're adding, is it emulating any particular type of film stock? What are we seeing in there?
No, I believe it's just a random grain set. So, yeah, we definitely wanted to have it as simple as possible. All these are only the 4 controls you see.
Sure.
And we did have a grain and a noise reduction slider. And we thought, why would you have less noise reduction? Isn't that just adding grain? And we thought, well, for the sake of simplicity, we should just add them as one slider.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan of adding a little bit of grain, which really good grain doesn't look like digital noise. It does have a different feel to it. It has a much more organic feel to it. And I found that especially when printing, if you add a little bit of grain pattern to it, it can just take off that digital edge, that over sharp digital edge. It can make it look very, very nice and have a really beautiful print. So I'll be interesting. I'll obviously play with this and see how that looks. Cool.
Very cool. So the last filter, the last editing tool that we added, and probably my favorite, is the Hue Saturation and Luminance. Again, a very pro feature. When we were testing out this app, this was the number one request from our beta testers, was to add this type of functionality. And this does kind of lend it the next level of editing capabilities. So full control over all your hues, your saturation, and your luminance. So again, I can play with that a little bit, bring down my blues. I can change my orange for that building. Go over to some saturation and maybe bring down.
Okay, and so
colors.
You were on hue before, right?
Correct. So in the top middle section, we have the little tabs for hue, saturation, and luminance.
Okay, so back on hue, when you grabbed the orange, for example, and you're dragging that up and down, is that rotating? It doesn't look like it's changing the hue of it, though. Wouldn't it be rotating through the hue wheel?
Let me bring that back up. Here we go. So you can see we're pushing.
Oh, there it is.
More,
okay.
Yeah.
I guess it hadn't gone very far, so I didn't notice it. Okay, so there we go.
Sure.
So that's rotating the oranges through the hue wheel. Cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can see the split on the control itself. So as I bring it down, it becomes more red. And if I push it back up, it becomes more yellow.
Got it.
So you can actually see how much you're affecting that specific color channel.
Okay. So you're not rotating a full 360 through the hue wheel at this point. You're just going, maybe 30 or 40 degrees either direction.
Right. So you can go from one color to the next, but never past that next color.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah. So again, keeps things more realistic. You're not going to create any digital art with this app. It's definitely more photography focused that way.
Okay.
So if you have something you really like, so I think I did a pretty good job with this photo, I can then create my own filter based on that those edits.
And that was tapping the button in the bottom right there, the plus?
Correct. So I took this photo in San Francisco, so I'll just give it the name SF, hit done. Yeah, and that was just the bottom, the plus in the bottom right. So I'm happy with that. I can go back to my main view here. And in the middle, I have my filters. And this is really cool. We reached out to our community and asked some of our top mobile photographers, can you guys create us a filter that you would want other people to kind of use and get to understand how you do your shots? Mm-hmm. So this is actually really fun. So we worked with some of the top photographers on our site.
Nice.
And so you can see, here's my filter, my SF filter. You have here one from Alex Curry. You can tap on his name and see some more information about him. 19
years old.
We're very lucky to have him on board. Scrolling through here, we have Ashley here. One of my favorites for their lifestyle shots. And you can also just swipe through. If you just swipe on the photo itself, you can just swipe through all of them and see which ones you like. And again, anytime you can tap their name at the top and see their profile and more information about them. In the future, we really want to do sharing. We want to make sure that you can, as a photographer, can share your best filters, and we'll do some more filter management. But it's a really good opportunity, again, for you to learn and become a better photographer.
Sure, absolutely.
So I'll jump back here. One of the features that I forgot to show you, if I go back into my editing mode, if I press and hold, I can now swipe back and forth to see the original and my edits.
Oh, that's very nice.
It's a very simple slider here. and jump back. And of course, you can upload to Fiverr and PX. So I'm already logged in, but if you're not logged in, we'll ask you to log in. Here are some tags that we've automatically generated for you based on this photo. It makes it very easy.
So it's doing a little object recognition on the image. Okay, so here's the question. Now, obviously, at this point, the intention is to share this online, so privacy shouldn't be a concern. But one of the topics I do always like to bring up whenever we see anything like this that is clearly accessing the internet, it is accessing some kind of server. What's happening before you tap this button, before you got all of these tags, daylight, industry, water, and so on? What happened? Was the entire image uploaded to 500px in the background? And keeping in mind that this happened instantly when you tapped on it, so whatever analysis had to have already happened, or whatever transfer of data must have already happened. What actually is happening with your photo right now?
So we take a very small crop of this photo, a little square crop that we send to our servers, and in 20 milliseconds, it finds the tags and sends it back. Then that photo is gone. So we don't keep the photo around. All we do is return the tags, and then that photo is gone.
So if you're taking just a square crop of it, then you're not seeing the whole picture.
You're seeing the majority of the picture. So what we're doing is trying to find the best size photo to send without it being, again, 11 megabyte JPEG. So we want to find a small section of it and send that. But we are just sending a square.
Okay, so it's a square crop of the full image. It's not like a tiny little center piece of the crop. It's just...
No, sorry. It scales it down and then crops the square from that.
Okay. And it's scaling it down to a point where obviously big enough for your computers to analyze it and figure out what it is, but small enough that it happens quickly and isn't chewing up a bunch of the user's data.
Exactly.
Is there any kind of idea of how much data actually gets used every time you're playing with a photo and something's sent off?
It only gets requested as soon as I hit upload. So anytime I'm editing the photo, it's not being transferred back and forth. It's only when I hit upload do I send the request and get it back. So that's how quick it works.
Okay. So is it safe to say then that square that we're seeing up in the corner right now, that's basically what's been sent?
Very similar, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Great. And then here I can add my title and my description, or our new feature here to add is to submit to the marketplace. So Fiverr.px is a stock photo marketplace that has since mostly been on the web. We're bringing it to mobile. And what's really cool is I can now attach a model release, which I'll show in a second. And then I hit the check mark on the top right, and it goes off to Fiverr.px. If I back out of here and go to this bottom right icon, I can, again, have some other functionality. I can copy the style if I want to paste it on a different photo. I can export just the photo or the original. So I can, again, save this to my camera roll, or I can send this to another sharing service if I wanted to, and then duplicate and delete. So
when you export it, is it going to save a whole new file, or is it doing the iOS thing where it will save the adjustments on top of the original, and in iOS you can revert to the original?
When we export, we create a copy. But the original is saved. So if I go back into this photo, I go back into my editing function, all those settings are saved. So inside the app, the settings are saved.
Because at this point, you're just saving it within the app. You're not saving it out to the camera roll at this point.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
So if I back out of here, and then this last little function, something that we found very handy is being able to create model releases. Yeah. So again, you can carry around a stack of forms if you wanted to, but we have an app that can do that for you. So again, you create your model release. I'll just add my location, Toronto. Hit next. And basically, it gives you every piece of information you may need to know about your model. Some of it is required, some of it is not. And based on where you live, we'll change how much information is needed or not.
And that happens dynamically? It lets you know, oh, you're in the US, you're in, I don't know, Russia?
Yeah, so some locations require more or less information. So we try to create a model release that fit most of that information. But you can see here, if you're a minor, we need the guardian's name and the guardian's signature over yours. Mm-hmm. So there's things like that we've included here.
Okay.
So if I was to create one very simply, I create one for myself and my birthday. I won't tell you how old I am, but we'll just say somewhere around here. So I should fill out all this information, but for the sake of time, I won't. Sure. And then at the very bottom, I can tap, rotate my phone.
Great.
And sign that.
And off you go. Very good.
And hit done. stream.
Sure, yeah.
If you were to create a valid model release, you'll have all those releases here as a list, and you'll be able to select them here and edit. Or when you're uploading in this view, you'll be able to attach a model release at the bottom here.
That's great. Now, once you've created the model release and your model has signed it, can you send it to the model from within the app right there?
We don't have that yet, but we do want to send as a text, as a email, or as a PDF. So that is definitely coming.
Great. Very good. Very good. And I didn't see in there, was there,
Sure.
there has to be a place where they can read the release. You can bring up the words so they can.
Correct. So at the bottom, I'll do this again. By signing, you agree to these conditions. And this is our standard model release that we've used in the past with clients and our own shoots.
Okay.
So again, this covers both the photographer and the model.
Perfect. Very good. Love it.
Yeah. So this is definitely our first foray into the capture and edit experience, but also into bringing photographers a way that they can make money on their phone.
Right. Absolutely.
So we're very excited with where we can go with this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice, very simple UI design there. Obviously easy to use, non-intrusive. I think overall you've got a real winner here. This is great. Awesome. What's up in the top left corner there? The gear
this
menu.
Is
any
settings.
Options?
If I wanted to, there's about FirePX, about us and the libraries we used, and then logging out because I'm logged in.
Very good. Super.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. That's really great. I'm very much excited to start playing with that and get this thing loaded up on my new iPhone 7. Have some fun with it. See what I can do. We're gonna have to get this dual lens access in there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we can't wait to play with that at all. It's going to be really exciting, and photography is going to be on mobile is going to be pretty intense the next year.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm really excited to see what developers like yourselves and all the other companies out there are going to do with these dual lenses. Because as far as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you even know, but Apple's opened up the API so that developers can do anything they want with these two cameras. So we could see things where both cameras are shooting simultaneously and who knows, making stereo images or God knows what. Some pretty crazy stuff I think that people are going to come up with pretty quickly here.
Yeah, we're excited to see what we can do with it. If it's similar to the Broca stuff, if it's similar to finding the best camera based on your subject, maybe like automatically taking a portrait photo. If it's if you detect a face, we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Oh, all kinds of great things. Right on. Well, super. Thank you so much for bringing that to us. This is a beautiful looking app, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to take advantage of that. And it's great that even if you don't have the latest and greatest iPhone, you can still edit raw photos in there. I think that's huge. Absolutely huge. A lot of people obviously have DSLRs, DSLM cameras, and with a whether you're transferring the files wirelessly or you're using a camera connection kit, you can get those raw files onto your device and start working. We were looking at it obviously on an iPhone. Is this on the iPad as well?
It's only iPhone for now.
Okay. For now, keywords. Yeah,
we want to leave it open for the future, but we feel that, again, the iPhone is with you all the time, and we think that's the best place to have a camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when it comes to the iPad, I've got the iPad Pro here, and doing any serious editing on the iPad is obviously a very, very nice thing to have. So hopefully we'll see this come to the iPad too. I know that's something I would like to see, and I'm sure there's others out there that would. All right, well, thank you very much again for bringing that to us. So next up, the next part of our show is the guest app pick. This is the portion of the show where you tell us one of your favorite apps that you love to use on any platform, any device. It can be iOS, Android, Mac, PC, it doesn't matter. The only caveat is it can't be your own. So, Adam, what is your favorite app?
All right, so my favorite app for photography on mobile is Screwit. It is a really interesting name for a really awesome app.
It is.
Which allows you to modify the vertical and horizontal perception of photos, and also do a few more tweaks. And I think as mobile photographers, when we're taking photos all the time of streets or of very linear structures, it's super important to have those lines line up. And I think this app definitely makes your photos look more professional.
Yeah, it's a remarkable app. I've been using it for a while. I absolutely love it. It's of all the perspective correction apps out there, I think this one's got it the best as far as how you actually control it and getting that dialed in to look just right. And anybody who's now searching the App Store for Screwit, you're not going to find it if you type it in that way.
No.
It is spelled SKRWT. And Adam and I both know that Screwit is the actual proper pronunciation of it. I remember I even asked them on Twitter, how do you pronounce this? And they told me.
Yeah.
So great. Very cool. Good app. I'm glad that you picked that one. I love it. Love it. Love it. Right on. Well, then before we drop you off the call here, tell our viewers where they can find more information about 500px and, of course, about RAW by 500px.
All right. So you can find more information about RAW by going to 500px.com/RAW. It's in the App Store. I think it's in all app stores, and it's completely free. So enjoy those RAW editing capabilities for free. For more information about other stuff that we're working on, you can visit 500px.com/business, which is our new landing page for people to learn more about the Assignments product and to figure out how we are working with photographers and brands to make those custom photos possible. And also, we will be at the SCIF conference next week. So if you are a member of the travel business and you are around, you can see us there. But yeah, we're really excited about where we can take photography and where we can help photographers make money over the long term.
Very cool. And what is the SCIF conference? I've never heard of that before.
So it's a conference for travel companies. So there's Booking and Kayak and
okay.
all those large online travel agencies. And we know that photography really matters to them. So we're definitely wanting to show how photography can make a difference.
Nice. Oh, that's great. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look into that conference. It sounds like a lot of good info is going to come out of there. Definitely. Right on. Well, thank you again for being on the show. Really appreciate you sharing your app with us. It is a thing of beauty, and I know a lot of users are going to be excited to get their hands on it and see what they can do with their shiny new iOS 10, even if they're not on a shiny new iOS device. So, Adam, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, folks, so there you have it. RAW by 500px. It is a very simple, beautiful-looking app that allows us to shoot and edit RAW photos if you're on a newest device. And if you're not on the newest device, then just to edit those photos. I love that we can bring in pictures from our DSLR, DSLM cameras and work on those RAW files finally within iOS. It's a very exciting thing. And so when it comes down to it, a lot of different apps out there are going to be giving us this RAW editing capability. iOS 10 was just released less than a week ago, or I guess it's been about a week now since when you're listening to this. And there's several apps out there that already do it. So it just comes down to the UI, what people are doing with the interface and how they're making that whole user experience or the UX. And this is nice. This is very clean, very simple. I think I don't want to call them shortcomings because it is a version 1.0 app, but the few things that I mentioned in there are obviously features that I would like to see. iCloud syncing between devices would be fantastic. That'll be a really nice thing, especially since the photos are living within their own library, not going to iCloud. We want to save that step if we want to take a picture on one device and edit it on another. Would love to see an iPad version of it, especially for that type of purpose here. If we can shoot something on my iPhone 7 Plus and then edit that RAW file on the iPad Pro, that would be a thing of beauty right there. But otherwise, this is a really, really strong 1.0 app. I think it looks great. I think we're going to enjoy using it, and hopefully you will as well. So thank you very much once again for tuning in to another episode of TWiP Apps. I'm your host, Photo Joseph, and you can find me on the socials at Photo Joseph, as well as on my website, photoapps.expert. A special thanks to our sponsor for support of this episode. And be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and to visit our website at thisweekinphoto.com, where you can sign up for our email list to be notified of new episodes and to get exclusive subscriber bonuses. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you're watching on our website, you can subscribe to the show using the subscribe box on this page. If you have feedback, suggestions, or comments about the show, you can reach me, Photo Joseph, directly by using our contact form. Just click on the Contact Us menu item at the top of our webpage. And finally, if you're an app developer and would like to be a guest on the TWiP App Show, click that same Contact Us button at thisweekinphoto.com and let us know what you've got. And with that, it's time to put your lens cap back on and go edit some photos.